الرحيم الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. All praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us the opportunity to come to His house. We ask Allah to accept our ibadah and forgive our shortcomings. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. A person's success and failure starts from the time when he departs from this world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displays signs when a person is departing, then which category he is going to end up in. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Al-mu'minu yamutu bi'irq al-jabin. That a believer dies in a stage of having sweat on his forehead. When he is about to depart, one of the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings for a believer that now his success has started, that he starts to feel hot and he starts to feel sweaty. And this is the sign that this person, he is going towards the right direction. Salman Farsi radiyallahu anhu narrates the hadith which Imam al-Tirmidhi al-Hakim, Abu Abdullah al-Hakim al-Tirmidhi rahimahullah has mentioned this narration in Nawadir al-Usul, which Imam al-Qurtubi has documented in his book At-Tadhkira fi Ahwal al-Mawta wal-Akhirah. That when you see a person passing away, he is going to have three signs which will indicate that he is going towards a successful abode. And then there are three signs which will indicate that this person is going towards a abode which is failure to him. And this is a situation that arises for some people and some people it doesn't. For some people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes all the signs evident, and for some people only one of the three are evident. However, the true decision of success and failure is in the outcome when a person meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when you are departing from this world, those signs, they start. So he says, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Irqabu fil mawta, look and start to dig in in a person who is dying, three signs. If he has the sign of irqul jabin, that his forehead is sweaty, and وَظَرَفَتْ عَيْنَاهُ, his eye starts to shed tears or water, and وَانْتَشَرَ مِنْ خَرَاهُ, and his nostrils starts to become relaxed, then this is the mercy of Allah that he is receiving at the time when he's dying. This is the mercy of Allah that he is receiving at the time when he is dying. We learn from the teachings in the riwayat of Zadul Ma'ad, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's last moment before his departure, and Aisha radiyallahu anha describes that the forehead of Nabi alayhi salam would get so sweaty that I will get wet cloth to put on his forehead so that he starts to feel the coolness of those wet cloths at the time when he was about to depart from this world. Right? And then, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts anyone in the situation where he is able to, where he's able to see a person who is a believer passing from this world, you will see that some of these signs, they start to appear in the body of a person before he departs from this world. Right? And Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah mentions under the commentary of this hadith that I have witnessed so many people dying in my life that their foreheads were sweaty at the time when they depart from this world. That means it's a sign that I had the company of righteous in my life, which is a sign of success. When you live amongst the righteous, then Allah makes the death of your comes as a righteous person's death, and Allah reckons you from the righteous people on the day of judgment. The flip side to this, when a person is about to die, and number one, he produces a sound which is the rattling sound of a choking camel. Like the way when the camel chokes, there's a rattling sound that comes out. And he starts to feel that at the time of his death. And the color of the face, the color of the body starts to change. And number three, that this person starts to develop froth and foam around his mouth, on the side of his mouth. Then this person, he is going towards a direction that is not healthy, or that's not going to be a promising destination for him. So these are signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala develops. And why do these signs they come in? The first sign, the forehead starts to sweat. This is either that a person is becoming nervous that how I'm going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, even if you've been called by the most prominent individual, and it's a moment of happiness and joy that you will be given a plaque or you will be given a certificate, for you to be presenting yourself there, it's a moment of nervousness. And the person starts to get sweaty because he's getting nervous. So now when a believer is passing away and is departing from this world, it's a moment of being nervous that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now he's going to meet Allah Azza wa Jal. He's going to have his actions presented in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second thing which Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu describes, that any traces of sins that are still remaining in the actions of this believer before he departs from this world, as the sweat starts to appear on his forehead, all of this sin starts to move away from his body. So that sweat which is coming on his forehead, it's not a sweat that he is, being uncomfortable. Rather, that sweat is taking away sins from his body. And then when he departs, then he goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, Allah has forgiven and pardoned all of his sins. So we ask Allah to give us the death of a believer, right? Because this is something that everybody is going to have. Everybody is going to go through this situation. But dying as a believer, dying with the signs of a believer, it is something that is a great, gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Al-mu'minu yamutu bi'irq al-jabin. A believer dies while having sweat on his forehead, which is a sign of accomplishment, which is a sign of success. Now, if you see the opposite sign upon someone at the time when they have passed away, this is something that you should not share with other people, right? You should not go, oh, I saw froth on the side of the mouth of this person, or his color changed, or this happened. Now this person is not successful. He is going to hell, or is going to do this. These are the statements that we're not here, nor we have the authority to say. These are the decisions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who knows that by our statement, Allah can forgive that person on the day of judgment and hold us accountable. This is why it is a recommendation. It is recommended that a person at the time of a death of another individual sees anything. If it is a good sign, then of course he should share it with other people to bring encouragement and to microscope the life of that individual who died in a good sign, so that we can take on those actions in our life and be amongst the righteous people when we die. But if you see a sign that is disturbing, then this is something that a person should not expose in front of others. Why? Because that decision still is in the hands of Allah, and on the day of judgment, Allah will make that decision. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst the righteous. We ask Allah to give us the ability to live like the righteous and make us depart from this world while Allah Azza wa Jal is happy and pleased with us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa